I am Josh Galindo. I've built several successful businesses utilizing the one tool everybody has, the mind. I am here to guide, coach, and prepare you. We will debate, discuss, and grow our minds together so you can obtain your own success. Fuck average, be legendary. This is my podcast. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Jonesy?
Good. Usually say, how are you, sweetie? And I get confused.
Let me start over.
Yeah.
Good morning, gorgeous.
Good morning.
Good.
Mom.
Oh, geez, Dan. How fun. I love it. What a great thing. So we are getting better and better at this podcast thing. We had to build this from scratch using our own brains.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing pretty good.
I don't know if I'm going to take any credit of building this, but
Well, I think your presence is real special here.
It
I
is.
didn't realize that until after
when you didn't have it,
when I didn't have it.
just remember that for the trajectory of
Oh,
life.
man, I couldn't imagine. Danny, could you imagine our lives without Crystal?
You are omnipresent.
Right.
You're there even when you're not there.
Thanks, Dan.
So today we have a super special guest that I'm super excited is here. I'm personally filled with gratitude that she was willing to bless us with her presence here
I
because
agree.
I think it's always so funny. Everybody's got perceptions of different people. But I think it's a beautiful thing that we all have really high perceptions of each other here. So I've known her for, I guess you could say, quite a few years actually. But always was inspired by her ability to provide for herself using social media.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a monumental task. So I'm going to introduce her. Her name is Tana Ashlee. She is a business owner, an influencer, gut health hormone specialist, and the biggest job is that she is a mother. So welcome, Tana.
Welcome,
you guys.
Welcome.
Happy to be here.
There we go. We got the introduction part out of
I
the
know,
way.
right? That's the hard
Yay.
part.
It's always like the highest pressure for me. 1 million followers on Instagram.
It was a lot higher.
You told me that.
Yes, yeah.
What was higher? I remember the number, but you tell us.
Yes. So I was at 1.7 million followers a few years ago. And, I kind of just let it die down. And, now I'm kind of back in that flow of like, I think when you're building something, and I was a lot younger at the time, so it was just, I was very focused on like me, and almost like a narcissistic kind of mindset of just, be obsessed with me.
I don't think that's wrong because I think you have to be a little bit of that in the social media space.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
And that's, once I went through like a lot of my healing journey, all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow, maybe I'm wrong for this, and like kind of shamed myself for it and wanted to be more of a hermit. And I just stopped posting, creating content, and it slowly started dying down. And then I was like, this is the best way that I actually serve people.
Absolutely.
Show up for people. And it's, yes, people follow me for me, but it's because I'm actually giving them content, telling them what to do at the gym, how to eat, easier ways to stay healthy when you're on the go and as a parent. And so it was just this mindset shift that I really had to go through and not be so ashamed of like what I built, oddly enough.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh, yeah.
That's a very, very brave and bold statement first for you to announce that. I think, I'm going to relate with you a little bit because our lives are transferring rather quickly here.
Yes.
And there's some logic or there's some reason behind it. The rental game it's okay for the first year and you're building, year one's, they say year one sucks with rentals. Year two's okay. Year three's a little bit better, but like years 4, 5, and 6, because rents keep going up, but your payments and your expenses stay the same. So that's when life gets much better. So recently for us, life has gotten substantially cooler.
Yes.
And I had a little moment and I'm still kind of processing it. So I'll relate with you. Am I worthy of all this success?
Yeah.
Am I taking too much risk? And then the scary thing about success is if you display success and then it's taken away from you, now there's that fear component where you're like, am I going to be judged if I don't maintain the success? There's a lot of interesting things. And then my introduction to the social media space is, which boy, you deserve so much credit. Because Danny posts the videos at his discretion. I'm like, fuck, that one's gonna make me look bad.
Well, yeah, you're just
You get
putting yourself
insecure.
out there.
Yeah, you're really
Yeah.
exposing yourself.
You really do. And I've been so open on social media. And when I had that mindset shift, that's when I decided to move into the Ridges. And, I got my Range Rover, all of the status stuff. And I started going through way more anxiety and stuff because of the whole, now I need to
The pressure to maintain
upkeep
it.
this image.
Sure.
And it's not cheap.
No, no, it's not.
So I'm like, I'm already expensive to start with, like Botox, fillers, extensions, it's never ending. So, I'm kind of going back to that middle ground of like, this is all great stuff to have, but kind of going back to the core. And I think that's, it's been very, very interesting for me because I'm huge on keeping people healthy and happy, but majority of where I've made my money recently was through real estate, just
Really?
selling my properties. And then, I've always been inspired by you guys. Like that's, that's why I added you guys on social and I was so intrigued by what you guys were doing, but I never really had the time to do it because I was just like, building the social media stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm just more in a place where I'm like, I want to keep inspiring people and building and showing people, even though as a single mother, you can still have all this stuff.
Sure.
And it's okay. And, mothers, I think, are worth, sorry for the guys in here. You guys are worthy too. But I feel like women, like we really, really make the sacrifice with our children.
Oh my God.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like a lot of single moms will almost shame themselves and not feel worthy. And I think that was kind of the place, like I was going through this, another reason why I was having anxiety. And now stepping back into my true power and understanding, like I created this life for my daughter and I. And
Right.
the only reason I want to continue with this is like now she's been diagnosed with autism. I don't know what challenges she's going to be faced with. I know learning was extremely tough for me growing up. So now it's, really figuring out, like, I love flipping houses. I think that is so fun. And, so it's now really dedicating some time to that as well and introducing that into social media.
That was going to be my question.
Yes.
Man, what a marketable product. You and flipping homes. I mean, it's a beautiful.
No, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Get a construction hat.
I'd watch.
Sold.
I'd watch. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, and it's just so funny because it was, once again, that whole confidence thing where you're putting yourself out there. And I'm like, kind of like what you were saying is like, okay, like, is that video going to make me look stupid? Because I'm still new to the game. It's this whole new journey for me. So.
You know what I've learned about the whole stupid thing is if you just are consistent, that judgment, there's like a judgment
Window.
Thank you. There's like a judgment window. That's why Crystal's so
Yes.
Danny too. These two know me better than I know myself. There's like a judgment window. It's you're doing something new, making everybody uncomfortable. So now they're passing judgment, or it's like all of a sudden there's this new version of Tana. Did you see Tana's over here flipping houses? She doesn't know what she's doing. Okay, whatever you want to call it. So call it 3 months. But if you stay consistent, like month 4, they're like, damn,
Yeah.
it's kind of proving me wrong. You know where I
Right.
learned that? It was Ronda Rousey. I used to, I didn't really care for her. Because she was just so gaudy about her wins. She'd come out with her big
Brash.
shoulders. Yeah,
Like
brash.
Barbaric.
Real barbaric, very
Yeah.
little class. Fuck these people. And then, pin them in 8 seconds. And I'm like, I don't even like watching Ronda. It was like fight like 7. And I think I looked at your dad because I think we were watching at your house. And I'm like, undeniable. The girl's the greatest UFC female fighter at that time. Of course, she lost some fights, but that's where I learned that mindset is if you just keep winning, eventually people are like,
It's like they have to give you your
yeah,
credit. They
you deserve
can't,
it.
Yeah.
And I give up.
What's funny about her is I waited on her when I was a server, and she was maybe to my mid chest.
No way.
She's a little
I'm
girl,
like,
huh?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, Rhonda. She was so shy. She was like, oh hey,
Really?
I get down. I'm like, dude, I fucking love you. Like, you're so fucking good. She's just like, oh, thanks.
Very humble.
Very shy, very humble, and it just shows you like what you were seeing. It was an act.
Sure.
Right.
Well, it's what made her who she was.
Exactly.
There was girls that were better fighters than her, but it's a Mayweather effect.
Yeah.
It's the noise, it's the attention, it's the image. Then everybody's rooting against them.
Yeah. But in a lot of times you almost have to put on that acting face, like even when you go into social media, because that was the other thing that I had to realize was, I felt very narcissistic, but it's like you do have to have the attention on you
Yeah.
and make it a big deal, because it's like if I didn't make it a big deal, who the fuck's going to want to listen to me?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, commit. You had to commit.
Yeah, you have to commit.
It's that bashful approach.
Yeah.
And that bashful approach is mixed with insecurity and judgment and fear. And then you present yourself without the full commitment. When you just rip all that shit off and commit, it comes out. I'm learning it. It's like, you know, when I don't feel strong about a video that we're doing, you could just read it all over the camera,
Yeah.
And then the ones where I'm passionate and I'm committing to the statement because I'm so into it, that translates the best.
See, and that's why I started making that whole transition, and I still don't know how to fully do it online. So it's like I'm sitting here like, okay, I have the fitness stuff down, the recipe, the mom stuff, and all I have to do is throw up one of these flips that we're just getting done. Like,
Totally.
That's it. That's literally it. And so I started doing that, literally only one video. And I'm like, okay, I still don't really know what to say. But I'm like, if I'm just authentic with this process and I'm just like upfront with like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm learning. You know, the one flip that we started with, everyone was just kind of like, I don't know if you should be doing this.
Sure.
Like, and, you know, it actually turned out good. And, you know, I mean, it is what it is. It's this whole learning process. And now, I mean, going back to whole, like putting on that whole acting face though, of like being really strong, encouraged, and so confident with who you are and what you believe and what feels near and dear to your heart is like, those are always the videos that take off for me. Like I had one where I had an ex that was trying to belittle me because of my past, and I'm a felon, and that was why I couldn't live out my dream.
Jesus, Tana, you are
Yeah, you left that one out.
what a killer story.
Yeah, fell into fitness.
See, all this authenticity is so attractive.
See, and that
It's so entertaining. It's so I gravitate towards it. When it's all the bullshit, I'm not interested.
yeah, and so my ex kept trying to tell me like, oh, you're not going to be anything because now you're a felon. Like you disappointed your family, and like I live to like I want my parents happy. Like that's my world right there. And obviously now that I have my daughter, like she's number one, parents are second.
Yeah.
Like it was like, you know, he kept holding that over my head. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just telling everyone this story. So it was the Felon to Fitness Queen story. And that was literally like my most shared blog.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So I was like, and I was just like, I was a fuck up. You know, I made a stupid decision, and then I couldn't live out my dream of wanting to be a cocktail waitress. Like that was my ultimate goal in life.
You can relate to this, honey.
Yeah. So I mean, it's growing up in Vegas.
Yeah.
To walk
Yeah.
around and show your butt and like people throw dollars at you. It's like,
Yeah.
all right.
You're like, that's easy enough.
Share your version, which I think this is how life works. You were intended to get this felon.
Yes.
It redirected your path
Right.
from being able to depend on the cocktail game.
Yep.
And in my opinion, the cocktail game is a very dangerous game to play in because you can get stuck in it.
100%.
But it's a good game. It's just one that you've got to navigate carefully.
Right.
But Crystal, I'm hearing my wife speak as you. So I want you to chime in here a little bit, babe, on that.
I mean, I can say like, so when I started working in the casinos, I was doing valet. Well, I did it for a couple of years and then I got a DUI. So when you get a DUI, you can't do valet anymore. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do cocktails. And I auditioned for everything. Didn't get anything. I got a job at the pool at Bally's, which I mean, like,
And Crystal's got a banging body.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
you know,
thanks,
we I'm just, as a man, I'm like, dude, you're going to get hired for sure.
but honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. Like, it's probably the best thing that I didn't get into the clubs because then I was in the lounges and then I ran my time out and I switched gears. But if you stay in that club game with that money, you never leave.
Yeah.
You get stuck in it.
Yeah.
You start at like the Wynn Encore Beach Club, and then you move to like Marquee, and then Danny can help me out here. What's the next stop?
And then
I'll finish it. I got the finished up.
Chaos opens, so then you're like, okay, well they'll take me in. And then Chaos shuts down. You're like, shit, my next spot.
Yeah.
I gotta go work at Red Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
a good spot.
You go to Red Rock.
And then your next spot, time runs out there, and then you're like,
To me, then I think you go become a gaming bartender. Then
Yeah.
you're a gaming bartender, and then you go from gaming bartender to the
Yeah.
Palace Station.
Well, and not to mention the industry.
That's a scary place.
I know, right?
No, I remember I learned that because Danny and I've known each other since 6th grade. So we grew up learning everything together.
And we've seen that same.
I remember at Palace Station, dude, when we were gambling there, I was like, dude, this chick has probably been cocktailing for like 60 years. God. And her feet were destroyed.
Well, yeah, and not to mention like the club industry is just, it can ruin relationships and it just brainwashes you.
I
really.
think
if you get caught up in it, it's so easy to do.
I think it creates a real unrealistic perception of what relationships look like.
Right.
Like this rich guy is not going to just swoop you off your feet and you're going to live this incredible Instagram life. Like,
Damn it.
you might. You've earned those stripes. No, I mean that because of your space. But no, it's like no, like we have to poop in front of each other, and we have to, eat Wendy's one night instead of steak dinner at a restaurant. And there's shit diapers, and there's piss, and there's, that's no matter how much money you have, that's still the reality of a relationship.
100%.
It's not what you see on social. And sometimes these cocktail girls get stuck thinking that life won't come.
Right.
And then when it hits them, they're like, wait. I have to worry about how much I eat because now, it's harder to stay fit. 2, I got kids that are stressing me out. I can't do my makeup. I can't do my hair. I got in a fight with my husband. We have to worry about bills. I mean, fuck, real life hits you.
Yeah.
And you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
Because you're 30 when it happens.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No, and it's true. And I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go.
I tried to be a cocktail waitress for literally 2 weeks at House of Blues. And there were so many drunk idiots, and I was the only chick with fake boobs there.
Okay.
Of course, they were brand new.
Oh,
So I
So proud of them.
push-up bra, the low-cut shirt. And I was like, I cannot believe all these guys are making comments about my tits. So mad. I was so upset. And I was like, I cannot be in this industry. And I was a hairdresser at first, and then that's when I got hit with that felony. So it was like, I was working at House of Blues as just like a server, and then they let me do the cocktail waitress thing. And then I was like, okay. I was like, I hate it here. Like, probably when I get to like one of the cool clubs, like that's when I'll really enjoy it. And then once I got arrested and had this beautiful felony, every place was just like, this is pretty fresh. I'm like, it's fine. I was selling drugs. Like, probably be a huge benefit to your club, too. Just kidding.
Sales pitch.
Like, I know sales.
Yeah, right? Like, we can totally upgrade them. But, so, I mean, I'm grateful that I didn't get caught up in that industry because I do see, I see a lot of these cocktail waitresses that they go and they marry these super wealthy men, and it's like all they have to worry about is like, I have to get to yoga today at this time, and that's it. And I'm like, God bless you.
Yeah.
Nice life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we're saying here is that sometimes there's these life events that hit us that burn the boats. We know the saying, burn all the boats. When that was, because I didn't finish high school. I should probably stop saying I'm a high school dropout. High school dropout's a shock value statement, but I'll just say I didn't finish high school. Definitely didn't go to college. And then when I was too old to go back to high school and finish it, that was my moment where I'm like, I burnt the boats.
Yeah.
Like I can't go back. And even Danny and I joke about this all the time. We've never had to give our diplomas ever for any job ever. So I don't even know what.
I lied and said I had mine. I kind of did. I knew it was there, but they never asked.
Right. So, anyway, but that was when it clicked where I'm like, I have no other choice. I have to create my future.
Yeah.
I don't get to exchange my high school diploma, college degree for money. I had to go create my own destiny. Yeah. And I think it was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. It's kind of funny that, we're all talking about, and I think, Danny, you can relate to this too. The greatest thing that's probably ever happened to you was getting caught up in Ravelation instead of getting some formal graphic designing job.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
and then Ravelation rolled into what it did and taught you business, and then it rolled into this. And Danny, Danny's like he's my secret weapon, but he deserves a lot of credit. He started here just helping with my social media.
Okay.
Graphics, videos, which he's in all of what you see, which I was actually going to point out to you because I think you deserve a lot of credit. Let me go there first, and then I'll go back to Danny. You do all your own content.
Majority of the time.
Like you edit, you film, you set it all up, you do you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Majority of the time. But it's because that's what's most authentic to me.
Funny.
When I try to go film with other people, sometimes I try to like put on this face, and like I'm paying to get my makeup done. Like even today, I glued on lashes for you guys.
Oh,
You know, yeah. So
Give us a hit, Dan.
Oh,
But no, and I think it's great when you have that chemistry though with a videographer where you guys can actually like create content together, and it is great. So
I think you made a good point
beautiful
there. It's about
plastic.
the chemistry, because if
Yeah.
it's someone you don't really know or that you feel uncomfortable with, nothing translates like it should.
No, and I just love Danny in that space because of what he just described. Like, think of all the intimate spaces that you have to let these people into your lives.
Yeah.
At home with my kids, my wife,
yeah.
and then me,
Yeah.
and actually every aspect of my life. Yeah. So Danny's the one who does all of our editing and videos, and then he runs our house flipping business too. So he'll flip 60. What did we say? 64 houses this year.
we 55 units.
gonna
but
say, I thought it
that'll
was 55.
equate to about 40 to 50 homes.
Nice.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and that's a walk in the park.
Awesome.
Danny will smoke that. Dude.
Smoke.
I love it.
In 2021, we did 87 homes, and my peak was 123 in 1 year. And then it was 118, then it was 111, and then it dropped. And then I kind of learned that I'm in control of how much I want to flip. It's just how hard do I want to work that year.
Yeah.
So some years I'll do 50, and then I'm like, that was kind of boring, and nobody paid me any attention. That wasn't very fun. Then I'm like, next year we're going to do 90, and then we go do 90. It's like truly, I feel like I can ramp up my flipping business.
100%.
I mean, I'm in a different phase now. I guess I'm speaking in the past. I could ramp up the flipping business at any degree I'd like,
Yeah.
and then have it happen.
So did you start flipping after you didn't graduate high school? What was that whole?
So, so how I got into real estate is my mom was an escrow officer. She was a big time escrow officer, not doing houses. Nothing's wrong with that. I love my escrow officer now who does houses, but she was doing big commercial deals. So she did like the Rio. She would help assemble when they would assemble all the land for like Caesars. She was on those jobs. So she was doing big, in today's dollars, $1 billion escrows. So she had all the big players in town, big names that were making moves.
Yeah.
And I was blessed enough to be in their presence. So one time, basically, she was driving me to work. So my car had been in the shop, and we stop at one of her clients' offices. And she's like, she saw the writing on the wall because I was working valet, and I thought I was the shit. To your whole point, I'm like, man, I made it.
Bet?
No,
okay,
no.
Yeah, we can go into all that too.
Yeah.
So I'm like $40,000 a year. I got a new Audi. I just bought a house. I'm doing it all right.
Yeah.
And my mom's looking at me because she understood that there were bigger things out there.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you're going to start making $40,000 a year, and when you're 60, you'll still be making $40,000 a year, but adjusted for inflation. She just knew that was the game with being in the casinos.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we stop at her client's office, and she's like, hey, Joe, you'd hire Josh, right? And I'm like, no, I'm good.
She's like, I don't need a job.
I don't need a
I've
job.
got a great job already.
Dude, I work valet at the Mirage.
Yeah.
Okay? And I have a 2005
I
Audi
could drive
A4.
stick and automatic.
Right. And he goes, well, the guy that I trained last year made $1 million. And I was like, this is how crazy it was. And this is, I think, good for the listeners. I didn't realize a human being could make $1 million in a year.
That's what I was gonna say. Is she probably exposed you to something that you didn't think was even like possible?
I didn't. Now my palette's quite expanded, and it's easy to have an expanded palette with social media. But at that time, like, there weren't people in your visual or in your world or in your sphere telling you that level of success could be obtained. It was kind of just, that guy's rich.
Yeah.
But when I heard $1 million, I was like, holy shit. So that's how I got into real estate.
Okay.
And I started out in commercial. I won't get into too many details, but I started out in commercial. Things were going well, living that great life, thinking I'm the shit. And then the market crashed. Now those Dan was waiting to
I
hit
know
that
he
button. I saw.
was.
The market crashes, and I had no choice because the guys that I was working with, they had holding power, so they could just shut down shop and wait for things to normalize.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I got to sell something. I'm going to be in bad shape. So I jumped over to the housing business, and I was just like, what sector of real estate was moving? And houses were moving, because houses collapse first.
Yep.
Because the consumer goes, and then when the consumer goes, then housing goes, and then once housing goes, then commercial goes, because all of a sudden builders can't pencil a home development because the house is selling for $170 instead of $370. So those guys, anyway, so the housing market had already collapsed, and then I jumped in that, and I'm running around. People don't even realize about me. Crystal does, Danny does, but like I was selling $40,000 condos. Like I was showing my way of being a retail real estate agent, the way that I chalked up the amount of work in exchange for a commission was, I'm going to take you out 10 times. I'm going to show you 10 houses each time. So it was a pretty good likelihood that I would have to show you 100 homes to get you to buy one $150,000 home. And then you go 150,000 times 0.03. You know, these realtors are so spoiled today with the median price being like 420,000. You know, think 150 grand at 3% is like $3,800, $4,200 or whatever the number is. 3 if it's 15, it's $4,500. Versus a commission today on a $400,000 house could be like 12 grand.
And it's the same house.
And it's the same house.
And there was no Authenticign.
And there was no Authenticign. That's the wild thing. You know, I'd have to
Like
print out the
wet
offer,
signature.
hand it over to you. You would sign it. I'd scan it back into the scanner, convert it to a PDF, open an email, and then attach the PDF and email it.
Oh my God.
Times 100. You know, I'd write anyway. So I was just a regular retail real estate agent. And then I was like, this isn't my highest and best use, because I was trained in real estate on how to take a piece of real estate, add value to it, and then be rewarded in exchange for the value add. That is investing in real estate versus sales. The people sometimes get the two confused. Not that that's you, but for maybe some people out there, that real estate means it's just sales. You don't have to be a good salesperson to do real estate. You just have to understand how to invest in real estate if you're not great at sales. Or you could have no clue how to invest in real estate, which is fine. And then you could be an expert in sales and just sell real estate. So I bought my first house and put together a little partnership with some buddies. And I think we made like 20 grand and split it up. And I think I walked away with like $5,000, and Crystal watched me damn near kill myself doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, because my partners were kind of lazy in it, and not lazy, they just probably didn't know any better. But in me, I was a control freak. And
yeah, and you were doing You were doing a lot of the work yourself.
I was laying the grass. I was doing sprinkler systems.
We did garage sale to sell the stuff that was in the house to make some extra money for it.
Dude, Crystal's out there. It's a great. God, if we could only have had Danny at these times. Document these things, it would have been so beautiful. We move all the shit out of the house into the driveway on a Saturday, and we just have people rolling up, and we're like, anything, just take
we don't
anything,
care, whatever. Yeah.
And then there was this van in the garage. This first flip was, it was a vacation home. Okay. The homeowners roll up, open the door, the house had flooded, mold everywhere, like mold everywhere. And then they locked the door and they left. They didn't touch anything inside. They left the van. They left everything. Okay. So when I get the house, now you got a visual representation. Yes. So I take all of the stuff out of the house. I'm selling that. Well, now I have this van that I'm a little bit of an amateur in this space. I'm like, how do I get a title? I don't even know what to do with this van.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have the keys. I don't have anything. So this Hispanic dude rolls up and goes, I'll give you like, I think it was like $750.
Yeah, it was not very much.
I'm like, done. It's yours. Okay. And then he comes back during the garage sale, pops the garage, goes in there, starts it right up, somehow manages to figure out how to get a key for it, and drives it away. I'm like,
oh my, yeah.
Probably an $8,000 van.
You're like, well, I think that sold that a little short.
Right. And then there's a system now that I know you can file for clear title or something like that. Anyway, there's a way to get the title so you can maximize the value. But we started. I started very, very humbly in the house flipping business, and Crystal was by my side the whole time.
I love that.
That's the other thing. I was dead broke when I met Crystal.
Yeah.
Literally, I was minus $168. Not when I met Crystal. I was a hotshot when I met Crystal.
Yeah, you were a hotshot.
Midway
when he decided to commit, he's like, I got no money. You ready?
All right, I lost the SL 500.
Like these videos, I chased you for 6 months, and then you had no money, and you're like, okay.
I think I'll settle down. Yeah. No, that's Crystal and I story. There's a lot more to it.
But where did you guys meet?
Go ahead, sweetie.
We met at, the restaurant Nora's?
Yes.
Yeah, on Flamingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just there with my friends, and he was there with his friends. Danny, were you there that night?
I think I was there.
Scott Weber and all them.
Yeah, I was probably working.
Yeah, probably
Maybe.
working.
Yeah.
I was expecting like a crazy
No.
ballet story. Like you guys almost got in a car accident. You guys should just start making some.
I know,
Right,
right?
just
It's
add
very
to it.
anticlimactic.
I'll make it sound a little sexier. So I
Yeah.
walked into the restaurant and I
Oh yeah. Well, you can tell this side of it. I can.
Right.
Oh,
She
this
can't
side.
tell this side. Here we go. Here we go.
You walked in.
Ooh.
I walked in. I swear to you, I zero in down this row of tables, and this is authentic and real. And there's 25 people between her and me, and I saw this girl, and I was like, that girl's really beautiful. I always say that this was the days when men had to have some balls and walk up to a woman and
Yeah.
go, I find you attractive,
Yeah.
and hope and pray that they don't reject the shit out of you. And then if it moves further, then you got to have the balls to go, may I have your phone number? Then if it moves further, you had to have the balls to call her first.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's like you can
You just
bumble,
DM.
DM, and then you can text. Like there's no rejection opportunity. Anyway, so that was, I saw her, I found her physically attractive at first. And then, of course, I fell in love with everything else about her. And then, the rest is history.
You guys make an incredible team.
I agree.
I
you.
absolutely love it.
Thank you.
And it's I always tell Megan too. I'm always like, I just love them, and I love Crystal, even though like I've never met her. Like I've seen Josh. I think I've seen you at the gym for like almost 10 years now.
I know.
Like
Yeah.
forever.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, so I'd see you like here and there on his social media, and I was just like, I just absolutely love her. I don't know what it is.
You're so sweet.
She's authentic. She's real. Because she came from humble beginnings and we came from humble beginnings, there's no, I don't want to be the guy speaking for you, but I think that she just is grateful for where she's at because this is what she's created. Sometimes when these chicks come in to this super uber wealthy life, they don't have any fulfillment or
Right.
ownership of the life that they're living. And that'll fuck your brain up. Like all of a sudden you're grasping for things, trying to shove your way into the system to find validation for the life you're living. And Chris doesn't have to do any of that stuff because she helped build the thing block by block by block by block. So she has nothing to prove. She can look back and go, trust me, he might have put that block on, but I put the block next to it and the one on top of it.
Yeah.
And he almost fell, and I caught him, so he put it back out there.
And I took all 4 kids to school that morning
Yeah,
so he could lay that block.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's really the big part, I think, for me, through my lens, is what I love about Crystal and I's relationship is that I'm able to do what I do because of what she does for us.
100%.
So that really is the shim in the system that levels everything out.
Yeah, because kids will throw in a whole nother.
Oh, yeah.
Every day is something different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She does it 4 times
Yeah.
a day.
I'm like I can barely handle one and a pit bull. Like my pit bull thinks he's a toddler, and I swear they'll be fighting. Like she's on spring break, and they literally are fighting each other yesterday, and I'm like, how do people have more than one kid? And I like turn, I look at my mom. I'm like, this is why anytime you guys ask if I'm having another one, I already have 2.
Yeah.
This is it. Like
I think 2 is easier than 1 because they play with each other.
Yeah. Like this morning, I was running a little late, and Kennedy was helping me get Jagger ready.
oh,
Beckham couldn't find his sweater. She found it,
How
So
cute.
I like the multiples. They help, actually.
Yeah, after 4, I think you could have 7
Oh,
and you wouldn't
like
feel
that.
it.
Yeah, but
That's how Mormons do it.
yeah, right?
They got
I got the
Junior
first
helping.
4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a whole army, you know.
You used to have kids to work on the farm.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I need 8 kids because we got to keep this
We got
system
8
moving.
jobs, 8 positions to fill.
That was real. Very, very. That was the real deal. It was you're building a little town with your family. You couldn't live alone in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, that was very accurate.
So I want to know more about the gut health and the hormone health, because I'm going through hormone stuff myself.
Yes.
Because I don't have any, because I
Yeah.
can't. So I'm just curious about that mostly, honestly, for me personally, if I could be selfish for a minute.
Please, this is the value add.
Yeah.
Annie and I don't even have to be in this podcast. You two could run the whole thing.
No, so I mean, as far as gut and hormone health, it's important for absolutely every single person in this world. So, I mean, men, they're pretty lucky because it's like, their gut health, like, it's important, but their hormones, it's like their main one they have to focus on is obviously testosterone. Us women, we have our hormones that are fluctuating all the time.
Right.
And so that is extremely, extremely important because us women will try to run the world like men do. And it causes a lot of issues as far as anxiety, depression, burnout, because there's a certain time, like, so even during like ovulation phase, that's when our testosterone's high. So we can dominate the world. And it's crazy because our bodies are wired that way because it's time for us to make a baby.
Right,
so
right.
That high testosterone to, hey, honey, come get me the 5th kid.
Yeah, right.
But so during that time, it's actually really, really empowering to get projects done. You're more motivated. You can build more muscle mass. Like, it's insane. But then after that phase is when we start slowing down. All of a sudden, we want more carbs. We're feeling a little tired. And then we're like, oh my God, what is wrong with us? And we start kind of beating ourselves up on that. And instead of beating ourselves up, it's time to like understand your body is trying to build progesterone. And during that time, it's super important to actually listen to your body and take a chill pill. So even though you don't have hormones right now, like, you're still going to have those tissues in your body.
Yeah.
So estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, all of that stuff, they come in at different times. So beginning of your cycle, it's estrogen. And so with everything that you've been through, you obviously have to be careful because you don't want that to get high.
Right.
You know, so,
Smart.
making sure that you are sticking to more low carb, that you like during that phase. And it's about, they say about 10 to about 12 days. And so really making sure you are taking advantage of that, keeping it low carb. You can do more fat burning stuff. So keto focus, HIIT training, and that's when I always tell my women, like, utilize your fat burners and your detox at this time, because you can truly thrive with that and really see good results. And then you'll start shifting, and then your testosterone will get high, ovulation, and that whole process. So I think with us women, we really do have to understand that our hormones are different than males, and we can't keep pushing ourselves and thinking that we're going to dominate the same way males do. And we're in this like almost, I always say it's like kind of like a toxic feminist kind of energy now, where we're trying to compete with these males that they don't have hormonal fluctuations like we do.
Right.
And it actually backfires more, because then it's going to destroy our gut health, which in return destroys our hormones again. So it's this vicious cycle that we're in. And when we take that step back and really focus on, let me heal my gut, you can do a gut reset. Even with a 24-hour water fast, you can reset your gut microbiome within 24 hours. And then after 3 days, you can have a massive shift with just whole foods, basic training, stuff of that sort, getting outside, getting that sunlight. That stuff is so important for gut health. And
Great. This is crazy.
Yeah. How did
I'm
you
like
learn all
24
of
hours
this?
of
I know. There's so many moments I want to jump in. So I want you to stay focused on your
Yeah.
thoughts so that we can jump in and you can go back to where your thought was.
Yeah.
The 24-hour water fast,
Yes.
and then you said the 3 days after. So like right away it's reset, and then you said 3 days after. What does the 3 days after mean? That's when you feel the effects?
So with the 3 days after, I mean, you'll feel the effects during your fast.
How often do you believe in doing that?
I do it at least once a month, especially if I eat like an asshole.
Well, weren't we just talking about that, honey?
Yeah, we were.
So,
we were
you
this
know,
morning.
And I think it's really good. Like, a lot of people are like, there's no way I could go without food for a whole 24 hours. And it's like, that's a bad sign. That means you cannot metabolically switch, and that is not good.
Oh my gosh, this
So-
is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I could not eat for a day. I'm like, I'm
Day
gonna
3
be
is
skinny.
when it gets
I'm gonna be skinny.
Right. So yeah.
So
going-
if you feel like you can't go without food for 24 hours, that's a symbol in itself. And then you said something about it. I don't understand a lot of these words. So metabolic shift, what does that mean?
So with metabolic switching, our
Or switching.
body runs on 2 different fuel sources. So we have ketones and we have glucose. And so us women, like beginning of our cycle, we run on those ketones. Halfway through, we switch to glucose. So men, they can go in and out of things a lot easier. That's why guys can usually stick to keto for, a few months. And us women, it's like, all right, I had 2 weeks of this shit. I'm over it. Give me the carbs. Like,
Yeah.
so that's why we run into those issues. But so going back to the 3 days after a water fast. So let's say you do this 24-hour water fast and you're feeling great. You want to ease back into your the foods that you're having, and do like what I would recommend doing is do that 24-hour water fast. Then you want to do some intermittent fasting after. So first meal, I would say, depending on your lifestyle, your schedule, doing it at like 10 o'clock, 11, whatever. Some bone broth with a protein and a fat. And then for your second meal, protein, fat, you could throw in some carbs there. And then for your last meal of the day, I would try to end that by like 5 or 6. And it could just be overall balance of, proteins, fats, carbs.
Crazy.
So, and just sticking with those whole foods though. And then after that, you can start kind of throwing in some more processed crap. But it's like, as you get more sensitive and you are more dialed in with your gut health, you will notice when you have, like, I can literally eat processed food now and I like taste the chemicals in certain stuff.
Ooh.
And I'm a crumble cookie addict. So it's like,
Everybody
We
is.
love crumble.
yeah. So I'm like, it's crazy because I'm like, I still get those cravings from time to time, especially around that time of the month. But it's like, I'm a lot more cautious of it now because I understand the damages that it does. Even with processed foods, like the emulsifiers in it, like cause so much damage to our gut. And that's where a lot of the anxiety, the depression, like all these mood swings are happening. And people are just thinking, oh, I'm not motivated today because my life sucks. And it's like, it really starts with what you're actually eating and how often are you moving your body and really being present and focused. Like, I think we all know, we all get stressed out and overwhelmed if we're just, oh, what's next? What's next? What's
Right.
going on? And we're trying to focus on 20 million things. So it's like really taking a step back, being present. Those are all very powerful things that can help with a lot of the mental issues that we're even dealing with today. So
It's insane what's in our food and the impact it's
yeah.
having on our society.
I know.
And it's not
And
even
it's not just our food, it's everything. It's all of our products, our hair products,
Sure.
everything.
Yeah,
even
you-
our water.
You might think
Yeah.
this is crazy. I always get ridiculed when I bring it up. I don't use I rarely use deodorant. And when I shower, I don't use soap and I don't use lotion. I don't like chapstick. I don't like putting anything on my body. And I don't have dry skin. I don't have dry lips. I don't have, any of those.
You stink sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
but-
I was gonna say that, but
Luckily, she already loves you.
yeah.
but no, because of all that crap that's in them. That's in that stuff.
It's so true, and it's good that you actually are aware of that. And I wish I could get to that level. Like, I'm a chapstick fanatic. I know how bad it is. Like, even Burt's Bees, like, it can actually trigger asthma more. And I have the worst asthma in the world. So I'm like, man, I wish I could stop. But even now, we're sitting here, and I'm like,
I know. I'm like that too.
so
I
that
always look at chapstick like if your lips are chapped, I could be wrong, and I'd love your input if you know I'm wrong. It's a signal that you're dehydrated.
see, and I think it kind of goes back and forth. I think I overused it growing up, and now my lips are just like they
They
just
need it.
feel dry.
Right.
Like,
Didn't Carmex have a chemical in there that made your lips more dry?
yeah,
Oh.
and that's
Yeah.
everything. I mean, that's what even the foods are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You're more
Yeah.
hungry to get those dopamine hits faster, and it's like, it's crazy.
Holy
So-
shit.
No, it's insane, and that's like those are the topics I really geek out on.
I had a question. So I read a study, which you can't trust any study you see. And they said a child's brain wavelength upon tasting sugar was the same wavelength as a human trying heroin
Oh,
for the first time.
yeah.
Same
I mean,
peaks and everything.
Yeah, they show like they will do rat studies, and the thing with science is they're always trying to battle each other out. There's always one scientist that's going to try to debunk this, and so it's constantly evolving, which is it's great. But I think our best experiment is literally ourselves. Like, we're going to know what's best for us. But going back to the sugar, they did that in rats too, where they had cocaine and they had sugar, and the rats were going for the sugar water. That's how much more impactful like an addicting sugar is. And that's why I get like my daughter, I used to make sure she ate so healthy. And it was like kind of around 3, I started loosening up just because of the tantrums. But it's like, it's that vicious cycle. And that's what's crazy.
It's hard.
Know
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And so it's like now it's like always trying to have healthier options in the house. So if she wants like ice cream, it's going to be coconut ice cream, which coconut's one of the most healing things for the gut. So coconut water, coconut milk, like all of that.
Coconut ice cream is good.
Really? I never even heard of it.
Oh,
Yeah, hit us with some more
Sure.
real life tips and tricks like that. So like coconut ice
So-
cream, didn't even know you can buy a coconut ice cream.
I'll grab you guys some at Trader Joe's.
Have you tried-
Gonna be
I
there
love
tomorrow.
Trader Joe's.
Yes, yeah.
Have you had the Magnum ones with like the caramel surround?
Oh no.
Oh, they're so good.
Danny.
God, okay.
That's when I learned
I'm
about
trying
coconut.
to lose weight right now. Hey, summer's coming, and I got some crumble cookies sticking to me. But you know, it's with the healthier options. Like with Mackenzie, I really pick and choose my battles because it's like now having this diagnosis of her being on the spectrum. She'll have really big emotions, and you know, sometimes I'm trying to juggle these two businesses now of like trying to do the online stuff, creating the content, like you guys all see what goes into that, and then trying to figure out the whole flipping side of things and really making sure I'm like, I want to create something where I can literally bring my daughter to and have her help me, because she used to help me with my online stuff. She'd be in my videos, and now it's get the camera out of my face. I'm like, who do you think you are? They like you more than they like me. So
Right.
let's go. But, you know, so it's like with her, like we found these suckers. They're like honey manuka suckers. My mom found them. She loves them, but they're just honey.
Where do you find them from?
I believe you can buy them on Amazon.
Really?
So yeah.
I was looking last night. It's funny we're talking about this because I was looking last night for Easter, and I'm like, okay, it's like I'm getting a bunch of like knick-knack toys that should just get thrown away, but it's better
Yeah.
than giving them all the candy.
Exactly.
So then I'm trying to find candy that's like sugar-free candy, and it's like $6 for the same bag.
know.
That's $1 of Sour Patch Kids.
I know.
And I'm like, man, this candy's gonna make me go broke. Like
I know.
It's like they discourage
so
health.
expensive.
It's like let's
Yeah.
increase the price on the stuff that's healthy.
And that's another thing that's going on, especially right now. Because it's like, now we're seeing eggs for like, what are they, like $9? Like,
Yeah.
and I did Instacart the other day, and I always bought like the organic eggs, and they didn't have them. They switched them out for like normal eggs or whatever.
Right.
Half the price. And I was like,
Yeah. No.
what? I was like, oh my God. So
Have you heard that a non-organic egg is actually really bad for you? Have you ever heard that? I just heard that recently.
No.
I didn't know
Really?
if there was any
mean-
truth to that.
Oh.
I would, because I'm not huge on eggs. Like a lot of women actually have intolerances to eggs. So it's like a lot of times I'm trying to get my clients to just do like, you know, more grass-fed organic beef, stuff like that. Because it's like, you'll talk to women a lot of the times like, oh my God, I'm so bloated and gassy after eggs. And I'm like, well, your husband's going to hate me if I have you eating eggs. So, you know, we try to kind of limit that stuff as well. But going back to like healthy options for kids, it's like, you know, it is difficult, but that's why like I love Trader Joe's, because they do have those options of like, they're these mini ice cream cones, and they're coconut ice cream, chocolate, cute little just baby cones. And my kid will eat like 2 or 3 of them, and I'm like, all right, time to like put a lock
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
freezer, because she loves them that much. So it's like, I'm glad that she likes them because it is a healthier option. But, you know, another thing I had done for her was she has a cabinet in the kitchen where that's where all her snacks are. Mm-hmm. And right up front, it's like I pack dried okra, broccoli, the like dried peas, no fruit. Like I really actually try to watch the fruit intake as well, because it's like I don't want her just constantly wanting sweet stuff. Like a girl's crushing 3 ice cream cones, like eat some okra, like please.
Right.
And then when it goes, like now she can open the fridge on her own and stuff of that sort. So it's like I line anywhere she can reach. It's like hummus. You know, we only do berries. Really, really rarely will we do any other kind of fruits because they're just so high in sugar.
So berries is the right move, which you do that a lot too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I love the berries.
Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries.
Strawberries.
So yeah, blueberries are one of the best because they are really good for the brain.
Right.
Stuff of that
Yeah,
sort.
yeah.
Raspberries are like my second favorite because they're really good. Like you can get away with those on keto because they literally don't do anything. It's like,
Wow.
yeah,
That's the most
actually
amazing
help.
tasting.
I know. It's
They
like-
taste incredible for having
So
very
I'm
little
like-
impact.
Yeah. And so they can, you know, those can really help with a sweet tooth. And so that's the stuff that I like line at the bottom of the freezer and then, or fridge, and then freezer, I just put her ice cream cones. And right now she's going through this, like, she loves bread phase. And I'm like, oh man, So
For you, you're like, I
I
don't want this shit in the house.
I don't, because I'll eat it.
Right.
Right.
So it's like I buy sourdough because sourdough is actually really good for the gut. Anything sour is really healing for your gut.
Wow. Good tip.
Yeah.
So sourdough bread over wheat bread.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Well, all the bread at Monzu is sourdough.
It is. It is. And I like sourdough actually, but
Wild.
I know.
So okay, so the gut is crucial to everything.
Everything.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take away from this because we were just talking about this morning, and then
Yeah.
hearing you come in and talk about it and kind of reinforcing the thought. I'm going to for sure do the 24-hour water fast.
Yeah, you should. I mean, honestly, doing some water, apple cider vinegar, and lemon, super detoxifying, and it will reset your gut. And a lot of people think, okay, I just need to have only good bacteria in my gut. But the thing is, you need your gut to be very diverse. And that's why it's also important to switch up what kind of food you're eating. Like, that's why when someone's so like, oh, I'm not to knock on the vegetarians or vegans or anything, but when you are so extreme about one style of eating, you miss out on so many other benefits, nutrients, and then your gut health is thrown off because you're stuck to just eating the same old stuff.
And then depression and anxiety are often the result.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it all
I
starts.
mean, do you know who I'm? Yeah.
yeah.
Very interesting.
75% of your dopamine is made in your gut. Nuts, right?
This is crazy.
Insane.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a beautiful thing.
I know.
Hit her with
What?
business questions.
Business questions?
Yeah, she's running a business.
I know. Like what though?
I want to know more about
I want to know more about
What do you want to know more about?
time management because I don't have time to do anything. So I want
You
to
do so much in a day.
I know, but I want to go. I didn't have time to go to the gym today. I'm doing one a week this week.
we make fun of her. I'll do two a
makes fun
day.
of me.
She does 2 weeks.
I love it. It's that beautiful balance. So when it comes to time management, you just have to be extremely selfish with your time, which is really challenging when you have kids.
Right.
And I found like once I have Mackenzie, like she sleeps in bed with me. So it's like we literally don't have a minute apart unless she's with her dad. So, you know, I have to wake up literally at 5 o'clock. I go downstairs, I work out at home, and then I'll get her ready for school, get myself ready. And once I drop her off at school, I go to the gym. And it's like sometimes it's 20 minutes.
Holy shit.
Sometimes
you
it's-
double it?
I do my best.
Wow.
And it's only a few times a week, like Monday, Tuesday, sometimes Friday. But I have to be extremely I won't even answer my friends' calls anymore during the day. I don't give a shit what you're calling me for. If it's that important, text me. I love you dearly, but these are my goals. I have to stay focused because if I answer a call, there's
You
like
get
an hour.
distracted.
Yeah, it could be an hour
And
conversation.
and it's like, and even in the grocery store, the gym, like people will see me and I'm just beelining everywhere. And it's like, you come
You're
off.
like, hey, you're that girl in the cart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Nope. That's not me. That's actually my twin. I got to go. So you have to just be extremely, extremely tight with your schedule. Like no interference unless obviously it's kids, husbands, stuff of that sort. But I literally will schedule out my day. Like the first about before 10, like that's all my time. Those first 5 hours of my day, all me, everything I want to do, my meditations, journaling, any kind of learning I want to do, I do at that time to like really motivate me and get my mind in the right place. And then after that, at 10 o'clock, my phone does actually go on like work mode at that time. So it's like no calls, no text messages, nothing. And that's when I hone in and I'm like, all right, this first hour, I'm going to be doing follow-ups. Next hour, I'm going to be doing content. The next hour, I'm going to be writing. And then, you know, the first half of my day is more dedicated to the influencer online business. And then the back half is I learn about real estate. So doing those, searching for deals, talking to more people that are in that industry. And then my day will kind of end around like between 3 and 5, depending on if I have my daughter. If I have to get her at 3, I go and get her. And then that 3 until about 8 o'clock, usually a shit show. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. I might do emails, but I try to just dedicate my time to her. But if she is on her iPad, then it's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to get some emails done. I'm going to listen to another video. She's already on board with me. Like I've started this since she was in the womb was every single night we journal, we talk about our day, and we meditate. And that is how we go to bed. So she already knows that I have to end my day like that. It's important. And like she'll do the breathing with me, and it's always so funny because she gets
always so cute.
oh, it's hilarious. Like I always want to film it, but the second I pull up my phone, she's like, "What you doing?" And it like throws everything off. So it's just being very structured when you know, like, okay, this is all I have for business today, and this is my time frame. I have to get this done. And you know, a lot of times people are like, okay, well, I can't wake up at 5. I'm not doing that. So a lot of my like traveling nurses or people of that sort, I will tell them, wake up and do a 10-minute workout. Even if it's in the kitchen, like dancing, anything will help. And it helps you be in a better mood because then you're keeping your word to yourself. You're getting it done. You're moving your body. You're boosting that dopamine. Like you're going to feel good. So even if it's something like that, or if it's a walk with the kids, like, you know, I try to do that with Mackenzie and it's challenging and I only have one. So I'm like, I don't know if I could handle going on a walk with 4 kids, but you know, if they do go outside and play, like I'll try to chase Mackenzie around the yard and that'll count as like somewhat of cardio, but if the pit bull doesn't take me down, but that's usually how I try to tackle time.
Wow.
Oh, that was
Impressive.
good. I know, that's very impressive.
You know what I heard there is that you're your own boss.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's what a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs don't realize is that if you're going to go and run your own show, you have to be your own boss.
Right. You're
You know what I'm
holding
saying?
yourself accountable.
You're your employee,
Yep.
and you are your boss. And you look at yourself and go, "All right, employee, you have to do all of these things throughout the day, and in exchange, I'll pay you."
Yep.
But you're just conducting it within yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, I mean, you have to have extreme focus, extreme discipline. And I mean, there was a time where my life, I had went through probably like 6 months where I didn't work. I could not, like I was in such a funk. I was trying to go through this whole, like, do I want to keep social media going? Do I want to do this? Like
Trying to figure it out.
yeah, I was like really trying to find my purpose. And it was after getting out of an abusive relationship, getting back on my feet again and like understanding like, who am I now? Like now I have a child. I have, you know, now like I've always been the fitness girl. And I'm like, you know, once I get to my 40s, like, do I really want to be showing my butt online? I don't think so. Like,
There.
I thought I wanted that as a cocktail waitress for my entire life, but
Right.
it was like, you know, so I went through a phase and it's crazy because a lot of my confidence came through making money. And I didn't realize that until like
I
that
can
6
relate to that.
months. Yeah.
Totally.
6 months. I'm like day spa every day. Just really trying to figure out who I am. And like I used it as an excuse and then you kind of get lazy and so derailed. And I had to like really hone back in and like, okay, now I have like no discipline. I have no structure. I'm in this weird funk. Like now is the time where I rebuild or destroy myself. And like you give yourself those 2 options. Like, do I want to be homeless or do I actually want to have like a badass home in like a custom home in the Ridges? Like what? Let's actually say Summit. I don't want to. But you know, it's like you have to give yourself kind of those extremes of like.
Do you think Mackenzie helped push you to your direction?
In a sense, like in the beginning when she was first born, I didn't want to do anything but like literally sit there and hold her and stare at her. And so it gave me a sense of purpose, but it was very hard. And I'm sure you get this as a mom is when you start separating from your kids.
It's hard.
It's very challenging. So in a way, it kind of like held me back because I didn't want to do anything without her. And then as she got older and now with this new diagnosis, I was like, I have to give her this life. Like she deserves it more than anyone because she is just, if you meet her, like, I think the only time you guys saw her, she was like in the middle of a meltdown, Santa time. And she's like, she threw hot chocolate in my face that day. And I was like, it's okay. I'm still going to get a Rolls Royce to drive you to school in. It's, but no, she was, you know, she's literally the sweetest kid in the world. Like if you started crying, she would just come up and be like, are you okay? And she'll like give you this hug and she'll start petting your head and be like, I'll get you a Band-Aid. And it'll make you all better. And it's like, she's just so sweet. So I'm like, that's now like my main focus is like, I just want to make sure she's good. That's really it. And I want to make sure I can show up as the best mother, the best guidance for her, but also teach her, like, as you get older, like, you don't have to go and struggle in school. Like, you can make your own way, find out what you're passionate about. And if that passion's going to make you money, do it. If your passion's not going to make you money, figure out what's going to make you money so you can still do your passion.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
A lot of things you're saying there.
Yeah.
are Such a good point. But
So you said 6 months you took off social media?
6 months I just took off working, honestly.
So, I mean, did it take 6 months to lose the 700,000?
So that kind of happened over a course of a few years because I just wasn't giving it my all. Like, when I was building my social media, this was back when, I mean, Instagram had just started.
yeah, you were a pioneer.
I was that IGOG.
Yeah, that was like before people were making money on
I know.
Instagram.
And
What was that, 2012?
yeah, the second it started, I just built that shit. Like, I went all in. I told my dad, I was dead broke when this happened too. So it was like, I had to move back in with my parents, and luckily they had a casita at the time. So I got to live in this casita, and I was like, all right, I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop doing hair, and I'm going to take off with this Instagram business. And my dad's like, what the fuck are you smoking? Jesus Christ. He's like, get a real fucking job. And so I would just post every single day. I showed up like 2 or 3 times consistently. And then once live started, I was going live like 2 or 3 times a day. I mean, I was all in. And I started getting major sponsors, and they're the ones that like, you need to start doing online training. Like, so many people want to train with you. And I was like, well, I don't know how. And they're like, just do it. Just get started. So my first year in business, I didn't have a website. I was literally making plans on the notes in my iPhone, and I made 80 grand. And it was like, so
Good
then
for
I,
you.
so my dad was kind of like,
Yeah, you might be onto something here.
okay. And that's when I was finally able to start buying real estate and stuff like that. So it was really cool to go from not being able to pay a phone bill, having to move in with my parents, to buying a house that quick. And so, you know, after years of doing that, and then I just went through such a chaotic time in my life where, you know, I had a baby, I was getting out of a relationship, I was in so many court cases. And, you know, once that all kind of calmed down, I was just like, I have been just fucking powering through this shit. I didn't honor myself one fucking second through this. And I looked older. I was drained. And my dad made a comment the one day, and he called one of my ex-boyfriends and was like, Shane, Tana's not Tana anymore. He goes, I miss my little girl. And Shane called me, and I just like lost it. I was like, Shane, why would you tell me this? And he's like, you need to pull yourself out of this. Like, you're such a strong woman. Like, what's wrong with you? And that's when I finally like sat there and I was like, okay, who am I now? Like, I need to stop trying to please everyone else. I need to stop trying to, I need more money. I need more money. And focusing on all the material and just figure out like, what do I need to nurture myself right now? So I literally 6 months, I was just like, today, I think I need to go get some Reiki. Today, day spa. Yep, another day spa. Maybe another day spa. No. So it was just stuff like that. And I mean, I was still posting on social, but it wasn't as structured. It was more healing to really fill myself back up, because I mean, I was just so like in this like low vibration. And I think when you're in a lower vibration, you're going to attract snakes, you're going to attract shitty people to work with. And so that was like kind of where I was getting to with business, was like, I was working with pain in the ass clients where I was just like,
ooh, interesting.
yeah. And I was like, you attract what you are. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, so maybe I'm a pain in the ass right now and I need to really figure this out. So taking that step back for about 6 months and really going into like, what's holding me back? Like, why am I so obsessed with material and all of this stuff? So it took a lot. And so I really just sat back down and like did that whole healing process. And after that, it was like, you know, I'm kind of coming into this whole, like, now I understand my purpose again. I understand what I want to do. And now it's figuring out the strategy to actually impact others while I share this journey. And so that's where I'm at now.
Do you feel good now? Do you feel
I do.
aligned
I
and
do.
focused and purposeful?
I do.
Good.
And it's like crazy because I was going through so many different shifts, and I actually had a call with I call Megan all the time. So I like called her the other day, and I was just like, I feel so aligned and like so empowered and so happy. And it's so weird because, you know, like on Instagram, like I had months where I'm hitting $50,000 a month from like a few posts, like literally 4 posts a month. Like it was nothing. And then on top of that, I had sponsorship.
It was nothing.
I mean, that's back.
Oh, the effort was nothing.
The effort.
Like
yeah,
50 grand a month. That's
it
pretty
was-
good.
But my vibration was so high. My mindset was on point. It was just, you know, I'm here to serve. So I do deserve to be paid for
Of course.
the way that
Yeah.
I'm serving other people. Like I do put a lot in my coaching. Like I'm not that typical asshole coach that's going to be like, you ate a donut. What the fuck's wrong with you? It's like, I'm that coach that's going to show up and be like, okay, you ate a donut. Who cares? Like, let's figure out like how we're going to have better structure, or like what that craving was. Where are you in your hormonal cycle? Like, I'm very nurturing and very mothering with my coaching. And some people like that, some people don't, and it's fine. But I put a lot of energy into that. And so it was really just kind of honoring who I am and getting back into that whole, like, it's okay. Like, I think I was so burnt out because I felt very judged. Like, I think being a single mom in the Ridges, a lot of people sit there and they're like, oh, you do online coaching. And I'm like,
If anything, you should be getting more credit.
I know.
My opinion.
I know, but it does a really weird thing, like mentally, where it was like, okay, am I even worthy of this? And so that's kind of what started that whole like 6 months. Well, there was a lot of domino effects, but I think that was kind of the one that just like pushed me overboard, where it was like, I'm in the neighborhood that I've literally been envisioning myself in for the last 5 years. And like, I've done everything on my own, like, and now I don't feel okay about it. So it's just, there's so many like there was a lot of weird moments. And that's why when I had called Megan though the other week, I was just like, you know, I finally feel like I'm back. I'm
Good for
like,
you.
yeah.
Good for
So
you.
it took a lot. And I was like, I had to honor the fact that I'm not going to be who I was when I was 20. It's like, I'm not as hardcore. I'm not super cutthroat. It's my training style is different. My life is different. What I want for myself is different. And, you know, oddly enough, like everything's shifting, and I'm kind of going back to like, I think the root of everything, which was like a very weird experience. Cause you would think like after being in the Ridges, like, okay, the next step's going to be the summit.
Right.
Like, you want to keep
Yeah,
going. And
yeah.
all of a sudden it was like, you know, my parents are on like 8 acres and like they have this gorgeous house in the middle of nowhere. And so like, they're like, well, when we move to Utah, would you just want to buy into this? And I was like, I feel so much more at peace here than I do when I pull into my own neighborhood. And I was like, holy shit. And then like got rid of the Range Rover, went back to Audi. I was like right there with you at your ballet days.
Now there's a lot that when you start to accomplish that, you start to look around and go like, I don't know. It looked a lot cooler when I didn't
Right.
have
It's
it.
not what it's cracked up to
Yeah,
be
it's
or
not what
what
it's
you
cracked
thought
up
it
to
would
be.
be.
Yeah.
And that's been, I think that was like it was heartbreaking for me too, because it was just like, man, I have everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think some of these guys get addicted to the grind. They're because the fulfillment's not coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they instead of stopping and taking 6 months to reassess, they just get stuck in the system. They're like, just keep, and then that's how these massive wealths. But there's no, they die just trying to amass more wealth because they're
Yeah.
just hooked on it, you know, instead of ever. I had a mentor tell me, I'll share this with you. I don't know if I'm there yet. I know I'm not there yet, but it's something that crosses my mind. He was extremely wealthy, and the most wealthy person that's ever been in my life. And he got his health was going bad, and so he was still good, but he was diagnosed. So he asked me to meet him. I go meet with him mid-pandemic, so it's him and I. At Red Rock Country Club. Place is empty. Kind of a interesting visual if you go through it. Eerie.
Yeah.
You know, just him and I in these like little conversation pit with a fire. And he's like, hey, I got hit with XYZ. And it's not good. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's crazy, you know? And he's like, there was a conversation, but the summary of the conversation that I took away was, he said to me, either pick an age, pick a net worth, or pick a certain amount of cash flow. And when you hit it, stop.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was his point. He's like, dude, and he told me, I've never knew what his net worth was.
Yeah.
He volunteered it to me. I didn't go, hey, what's your net worth? He volunteered his net worth to me, and he goes, and it was all for nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. Because now he doesn't have his health.
Yeah.
Well, and I had one mentor tell me, he was like, Tana, if I could tell you, you would make $20 million if I gave you this recipe, but you would never see Mackenzie.
Ooh.
He goes, I can do that, or say, have your business, if you want to hit 20 million a year, have your business and structure your life around the business instead of structuring your life around that number, is kind of what he was getting at. I probably said it so wrong, and I apologize if my mentor's listening. No. But he had a good concept of just, instead of, pretty much living your life to make money, really just structure your life around that business so you can make money and actually enjoy it. And so I think that's a very, very empowering thing.
I think we're just at that age where the real hungry driven versions of people out there, which I will own as myself, I feel like I'm witnessing it with you. Like, we hit the ground running at like 15, and for me, I assume you were young too. And it was like, just as much money as we can get. Let's amass. More money, more grind, at all costs, all sacrifice, health, relationships, the whole thing, family. And then I think what's starting to happen, and I would assume we're relatively close in age. She may be insulted because I look old.
No.
But
no, she's young, babe.
I'm 32.
Okay, I'm 38. But 30s. It's like that there's that block of that 10-year 30s time where you look and you're like, if I can double my life, for me at 38, it takes me to 72. I think it's 72 or 74. I've said this analogy a few times. If I can get to 72 and still have good health, and to me, good health is being able to be intimate with my wife and play with my kids.
Yep.
That's, to me, is good health. And I have a brain.
Yes.
I'm halfway dead.
Yeah. No.
Like, I'm halfway done.
Yeah.
So now you do start sitting down and going,
right.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Do I need that other Range Rover? Do I need that other house? Do I need, or do I start focusing on, I've amassed this wealth, if you want to, I've amassed this wealth. Now is it time to strategically use it?
Yep.
And start to enjoy it. And to your point, I think is what you were trying to describe earlier, is blend all of it, your family, your business. Yeah. Now is the time, because before it was all business, all money at all costs. And I think what I thought I heard you say was, now it's time to blend it all. It never is meant to just stop and turn it off, but now you got to really start blending it.
Yeah.
And then obviously I think there's going to probably be another phase. We could sit down another 15 years and we'll probably look at each other and go, I think we're at the phase in our life where now it's not focused on business anymore. It's all family and relationships and memories. Yeah. So
I think that the blend is important, though, because all you're doing is showing like the kids' hard work.
Yeah.
You're showing Mackenzie.
You should be proud of that.
You should be really proud of yourself because that's what's going to inspire her. It's like, if I had like a normal 9 to 5 and I go home with the kids, I'm like, I need to relax. All my kids are going to see is me just sitting on the couch.
Relaxing.
Relaxing.
Focusing on trying to find
because they didn't see the other part of me working.
Yeah.
So I think creating a balance where they're involved in it is only good for them.
Well, and that's what my parents did. I mean, my parents do a lot of the construction for the casinos out here. And so when they first started, they were dirt poor, trying to build a business out here. We're brand new. And my brother and I were dragged to all these houses. Like, my mom's like, oh, I got to go pick up material for Dad. And just constantly on the go. But it's like my mom's a psycho. She wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She had 4 horses, 6 dogs, 6 chickens at one point.
Jesus.
Now, they're finally cutting back. Thank God. But, she still wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and she is just a fucking maniac nonstop. And I'm like, I am so grateful that I had that role model. And my dad's like, my dad is I think he's actually still kind of illegal. He doesn't like, he has like a green card, but he's been out here for so long that there's like some weird thing that he's like, he's from Canada. And
What time does he wake up?
he's right there with my mom. And it's like they run this business together.
You probably feel like you're sleeping in, waking up.
I know. There's
It's 5 a.m.
Yeah,
They're already
right.
done
There's-
plucking
yeah.
I'm like
chickens.
5. Oh, geez, I just went to sleep a couple hours ago.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know, I'm very grateful that I had them to inspire me, because that was my drive. Like, you know, watching my parents literally used to break into my piggy bank growing up and take money out so they can go buy Taco Bell. And so it's like, you know, it really is such a blessing to see where they're at today. But I grew up with literally watching them run this business. And my brother and I are totally involved in it. And I was like, that's what I want for Mackenzie. And although I can do that as an influencer, at the same time, like, I don't know if she would really want to be on camera all the time. And it is so much pressure to be on camera all the time as a woman, I think.
Yeah,
Men do
I
Way
agree.
more.
Yeah.
Way more
I
pressure.
agree.
Yeah, dude. If I go on there with no makeup and like a ponytail, people are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I don't know. I think."
Still trying to figure it out.
Some
like,
fat,
baby.
some fat guy in Oklahoma.
Right.
You
Yeah.
look like shit.
Yeah.
I know.
They're like, "You look like Caitlyn Jenner." I'm like, "Yeah, some angles they do," but I'm like, whatever.
She's a billionaire.
Right.
I'm like, he paid to look like the perfect woman, so I'm like, is it
Oh,
really an
there you go.
insult?
That's a good point.
But yeah, but I'm like, you know, my whole thing is like, I don't want to put her in a position where this is the only option that you have, be an influencer. It's like, I'd rather open her up to different opportunities. And I mean, she is someone that I'll take her to these houses and she just has a blast. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so cute. So I'm like, it is something that I think she'll enjoy. I hope
Good.
so. She needs to take care of me one day. Mackenzie, if you're listening.
Nah, you'll take care of yourself. You're gonna
I
tee
know.
yourself. I could see
I
it.
know.
You don't have another mode. You're just
Yeah.
gonna keep producing.
Like,
You might balance out, but you'll keep producing.
Yeah.
Let's summarize this. So I took away from this, the gut health thing was huge. That was a
Yeah.
real blessing. Good lesson. The gut health. I think towards the end here, I love having our children witness hard work.
Yeah.
They can understand that is the norm. That is okay. We're kind of programming them. What else did we?
I just liked the perspective because I'm not on social as much anymore. I took like a little bit of break,
which was nice.
but yeah. And then it's kind of like hard to go back on and like share his stuff or like it because I'm just not in that anymore.
Yeah.
But I would say like, I know that like everything you do on social looks easy and I know that it's not. So I just like hearing your perspective that it is like just as challenging for you as it is anybody else, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, staying creative.
I'm like, how'd this girl have a baby and now she looks like better than she did before? I'm like,
Well,
that's not fair. And it looks easy, but I know it's not.
in hormone health.
Yeah.
That's what I dialed in after having her. And I literally was able to drop 54 pounds in 8 weeks because
Holy shit.
Wow.
so
How much of that was pre-baby weight?
40 pounds.
No way.
Yeah. I gained 42 pounds during my pregnancy.
No. Danny's question was how much of that was
Oh,
Before you had the kid.
so before
you?
I had
Well, you answered the question.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gained
12.
42 pounds.
yeah, so I was 125 when I
You don't
got
have to tell us
pregnant.
these things.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm such an open book. I was 125, and then I blew up to like 160-ish something, and then after about 8 weeks, I was down to about 108 to 110 pounds was my average weight. Then I was like, oh, look a little too skinny. So I was like,
really?
yeah, like 112 to 115 is like my happy weight now.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm the same thing. I'm like 115's like
I know
what
extreme
like to
health
get.
looks
I'm
like
not.
extreme starvation.
I agree. And,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
done that whole weight journey thing, and I got down to, believe it or not, I'm 211 as of this morning. I was 177 at one point.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I was, and
You looked-
That's
I didn't look good.
No.
You know, and you think you do.
yeah.
That's what's funny. But when I look back, I would never go back to that
Yeah.
weight
I know.
ever.
Yeah.
Like I'm a 195 to 205 in my perfect world, which would be very difficult. 208 to 211 is probably where I'm going to hang out, and I'm happy there.
Do some intermittent fasting.
I'm going to do this.
I'm doing the 24-hour
The
fast.
24
All right, let's do
I
it.
haven't eaten yet.
Perfect.
I think that was a killer tip. Tana, you were incredibly insightful.
Yes.
I think we can exchange compliments because everything that you're accomplishing is beautiful and fun to watch, and
Very inspiring.
yeah, inspiring, and what a treat to, have an intimate connection with you. You know what I'm saying? We don't
Yeah,
have to
I
watch
know.
you from the outside.
Yes.
So I think we'll wrap it up with that.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Well, before we go, a little perspective on time.
Sure.
Okay.
So in 1985, 40 years ago from that point was 1985. 40 years before was 1945. In 2025, 40 years ago would be 1985.
40
Years from that point.
And 2 more years.
So imagine our parents, in 1985, they're like, damn, 40 years ago it was 1945. We're going to get that point.
Yeah.
That's only 1985.
You made me feel like I need to go
I
talk to them right now.
It's wild. I've been seeing that on social media. They compare the years. and-
God.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
no.
Good perspective. Good ending there. Thanks, Jonesy.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
See you
you.
next
All right.
time.
Hey guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you guys want to learn more about the tools, tips, and tricks that I use on a daily basis to maintain my success, stay connected with me through all of my socials at IAmJoshGalindo.